Hey, what's going on? Good afternoon for me. Noon should be coming for people back home. Uh, this is the last day of 2025. This is the 365th day of 2025. And um, I wanted to jump on and have a quick conversation, right? I know New Year's is something that a lot of people like to make New Year's resolutions. A lot of people like to make plans and it's a time where um it's a time where they have a lot of people make plans to quote unquote do things different, right? So you see during this time, everybody talking about, oh, I'm not taking something into the new year, or I'm leaving it in this past year, or this, that, and the third, right? What I wanted to do is come on here and talk about, one second. Wanted to come on here and have a conversation about, that the reality that is that change is not going to happen unless you change something. And what do I mean by that? Right? Every new year, a lot of people make those New Year's resolutions. They talk about stuff. They talk about things that they want to change, things that they will change. And some people are successful with it, and some people, a lot of those plans fall by the wayside. Why is that important to discuss, right? There's nothing wrong with desiring change. Change happens for a lot of different reasons. Some change happen because people get frustrated with the status quo. Some change happen out of necessity, right? Some change happen because stuff happens. Stuff just happens, right? So that's why I wanted to talk about that going into the new year, especially dealing with change and seeking things better. And as I've been speaking on a lot of things about what's been going on from a political standpoint, from an accountability standpoint, from a transparency standpoint, change will not happen if we stay with the status quo. Change won't happen when we stay with the status quo. Leaving this year, 2025, going into 2026, right? We have to be able to be honest with ourselves, do inventories, and really see what areas we really need to change. And what are we willing to do to get that change? Because change is not just going to happen because we wanted to change. Change happens when you decide to do the small things, when you decide to make those changes. And that is so important, right? I can make all of the New Year's resolution about losing weight that I want to. But if I don't change my diet, if I don't change how my exercise routine, if I don't change those small things and I just stay doing what I was doing, I won't see the change. I won't. And that's what I wanted to challenge us, for those people who are really tired. I've been sharing information that people can see to raise awareness on what actually been going on. The key is not to become complacent with the status quo, right? I made a post this morning about political grifting, right? And it goes into describing what political grifting is. And political grifting is just people using the elected office for their own personal gain, right? There's a widespread evidence of that has been going on for a long time throughout politics in America, but especially when we start talking about Perry County, right? But also it goes on in other areas too. So it's not just unique to Perry County. So I wanted to come on and I wanted to, I made that post just so education purposes. Why? The reason why is what I'm learning is that there's a lot of people that don't have an understanding of who's responsible for what. And a lot of that comes from, my mama always used to say, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. And when I use the term ignorance, I'm not calling people ignorant. What I am saying is there's a lot of people that just don't know and don't understand who's responsible for what. For example, with me talking about things that are at the county level, right? the Perry County Commission or the county commission or the county government are the ones responsible for that. So, for example, I'm using Perry County because I talk about it all the time, but if you have a water issue in Perry County and you live in the county area outside of a municipality area, outside of the city limits of Marion or the city limits of Uniontown, right? The Perry County Water Authority is the organization or the entity that's responsible for the water that is in Perry County outside of the city limits. If you live within the city limits, then in Marion is the city of Marion, and then in Uniontown is the Uniontown Water Authority, Uniontown Water Board, right? And a lot of people who may live in the city may be thinking that the county is responsible for that, and just understanding it. And a lot of that is because we have not, I have not seen a lot of effort to educate and inform the people or who's responsible for what. For example, the city council is responsible for passing the budget for the city. The county commission is responsible for passing the budget, approving the budget for the county. You hot, baby girl? All right. Approving it for the county. Let's start it off for you. They are the ones responsible for it, right? And it is key. It is critical to understand who's responsible for what. And the reason why it's critical and key to understand that is because once you understand who's responsible for what, that's when you know who to go ask questions for. That's when you know who's to hold accountable. And the reason why that so many y'all just heard some music. I just turned my car on, and that's the music. That's what I be jamming out to. But the reason why so many people, a lot of things go on because they have not informed the people on who's responsible for what, right? That is why I've been taking my own personal time, doing some research, finding information, and trying to share information so that we can raise the awareness and create a shared understanding in the community so people can understand what's going on, understand who's responsible for what, understand how this process goes. Why? Because I've seen for too long, I've seen those people that are in those positions that they have been elected to represent the people use those positions to abuse that authority and treat people not with the respect that they are due to ensure that they have an understanding. And that upsets me. And the reason why it upsets me is because it doesn't respect the intelligence and the individuals and the people within the community. How hard is it to explain to somebody how budget works? And I shared yesterday, and I talked about it yesterday, but the state of Alabama law code requires a county government to pass an annual budget. The law actually states that sometimes in September, they have to have a meeting and they have to approve a budget that has to be approved that said no later than October the 1st for the county to operate on. And then the law said that the budget, any amendments or changes to that budget has to be done through an affirmative vote. That means that they have to have a meeting that the county commissioners have to vote on, and the majority of them have to agree on it so them to make any changes, right? Yesterday, Albert Turner said in a post that, because somebody asked him under a post he made that they was asking about, they're hoping to see an update on the transparency of the 2026 audit, which I showed yesterday that the audit was changed from what they originally posted. Albert Turner said, well, they get a 10% variance to change it. That's not what the law say. And that type of stuff frustrates me. Why? Because when I first asked, he assumed that I didn't know about what budgets are. He assumed that because, you know, and that makes me upset, not because of me personally, well, because you don't even respect the people enough to tell them the truth. So changing the budget, silently changing the budget, was a direct violation of what Alabama law said. And that put the whole entire Perry County Commission at risk for violating law. And then I'm not going to be quiet about it. I'm not. Why? Because I will post later on today, I will post proof that the budget was changed. I have a link to the budget that when it was originally posted back in October on the Perry County website. I got a link, and in the link you'll see it say Perry County website. It'll see on the Perry County website where it coming from. Then I got the other one that was changed, and that you will see that it was changed later on. But there's no proof that they've voted on in any minutes in the for any change or any amendment to the budget. There's no proof that it was done in October or the November meeting or the December meeting. Right? And I'm gonna share it again. That what Alabama law said, what the actual Alabama law said from what the law said. Right? And why am I doing this? People want to know, why am I doing this? People want to know, why am I spending my time, energy, and effort to doing this? Why aren't you upset about it? Why are you okay with the status quo being the status quo? When you look around and you see the conditions, when you start looking at numbers and start looking at data and start doing analysis, you're like, wait a minute, something is not right. Instead of the young folks are leaving, they're leaving and not wanting to come back. You got people selling their homes right now because of the water situation in Marion and in Perry County. You got businesses that have closed their doors because they couldn't, of good conscience, continue to try to serve food because of the contaminated water. But everybody just said that's just how it is. Like, we got to get out of that, man. We got to really get out of that thinking. Like, seriously get out of that thinking. Just because it's been going on since I was a kid, that doesn't mean that it's acceptable now. That doesn't mean that it's acceptable now. And we really have to, you know, that's why I said change is not going to happen until we change something, right? That means changing our mindset. That means challenging the status quo. That means that for many of us, we have to sit down and take inventory and ask ourselves those hard questions. Like, really ask ourselves those hard questions. Ask ourselves those uncomfortable questions. Why am I okay with this? You know, I talked about it. I graduated high school from Greensboro High School in 1998, right? And about 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, I was sitting down thinking, and I was like, wait a minute. I went to Hatch, R.C. Hatch, for my kindergarten year in 1985. And then from 86 to 98, I was from first grade to 12th grade, I went to Greensboro. And I started to think about it. I said, wait a minute. My entire primary education, I went to segregated schools. And I thought about it. East and West Campus in Greensboro, that was a form of segregation that just stayed on. There was a compromise from when Alabama integrated their schools in the late 60s, going into the 70s. But it was okay, because that was the norm. And everybody, that's just how it was. We used to have two, I'll tell you how jacked up it was. Hold on. We used to have two campuses, East and West Campus. But when it went up to the state, it went up as one school. But we all played on the same sports, but we had a East Campus homecoming during basketball season, and we had a West Campus homecoming during football season. This was 28 years ago. This wasn't 40, 50 years ago. I went to a segregated school, but it was the norm, right? Because that's just how it was. We cannot continue to accept mediocrity, to accept being the bottom of the barrel because of we just allow the same people to just keep doing the same old, same old. and sitting around and being quiet about it, posting about it on Facebook, providing our opinion or whatever, is not going to change anything. I shared, and I'll share it again, but that was recently, Liscombe, Alabama, a judge ordered to remove the entire city council because of their dealings and what they were doing. Like, I want people to understand, just because we had elections, we just recently had elections, that don't mean that these mayors and city councils get to stay the full term. Because according to Alabama law, we can impeach them. They can be impeached. When there are laws, there are rules and regulations, laws that they have to abide by. They don't just get to do what they want to do. They don't just get to misappropriate federal funding or grants. They don't get to not abide by, not reply back to people requesting open records. They don't get to just do what they want to do. It is time out for us to stop remaining silent. People taking time to do the small things. And what I mean by the small things, it may take a little bit, but we got to start sending emails. We got to start submitting complaints. We got to start to raise awareness to these people that's not only at the local level, but at the state level, at the federal level, to get involved, to start coming and looking at stuff that we know that ain't been right. That's what we need to do. And it doesn't take much, right? I will take it upon myself to try to find as much information and share the information and present it in a way that is easily digestible, right? For example, for the Alabama Ethics Committee, right? They want you to provide names and all that stuff as far as who providing it. And you have to get, it's a complaint form, and you have to get it notarized, right? But there are some people that are notary public, a notary public, that's, well, people that notarize things. I may be misspeaking, but there are people that notarize things that we can partner with within the community that can notarize complaints if you want to sit it in, right? And if it costs an issue, we got people that can organize. We got people to come together to see what we can do to cover those costs. But we need those complaints submitted. Because for far too long, we have just been like, oh, people have been making Facebook posts. Listen, I'm telling you right now, complaints work. Not only complaints work, but there's a lot of different things. Listen, there's been so much evidence of misappropriation of federal funds. That right there is violation of federal law. People go to jail for that. Right? And I'm not playing. First of all, none of this is personal. But I want people to sit down and just sit down and think. Listen, I have been, and I'm just, from what I've been able to find, right? Because a lot of this is from what I've been able to locate. Since 2009, the last 15 to 17 years, entities within Perry County, a government entity like a water board or a city or a county, has gotten around safely, easily to say, about $60 million in grants. About $60 million. In the last 15, 17 years, what tangible results have you seen from $60 million coming into our area? What's the e-footprint got a $1.5 million on behalf of Perry County in 2021 to redo our broadband infrastructure. Have anybody seen any work being done according to e-footprint to help out with the broadband issues, the broadband infrastructure? Right? But when it was put out, they partnered with on behalf. They submitted the grant to ADECA on behalf of Perry County. I've already reported. I've already shared about how $30 million has been directly to Uniontown between 2009 and 2023. Like, all of this money is coming. They're announcing money again coming for the Inez Bennett, the Bennett and King Center. That is the old National Guard Center, right? That $500,000 Terry Sewell announced. Representative Terry Sewell announced that she got $3.2 million coming to the Black Belt, and $500,000 coming for that center. You know, back in the day, you know, I shared another post. Albert Turner said he was gonna get $10 million to, you know, back. It was supposed to be the Obama Wellness and Fitness Center. Then it was named to the Bennett, Inez Bennett Bennett and King Center. Then it was announced that they was gonna get. Listen, I'll tell you, I'm gonna show it. It was announced when they got some of that COVID money that $130,000 was gonna go to that center, right? And I got receipts, and I will show it. Then there was another grant that was supposed to announce, like $160,000 that was supposed to go. But if you go to that building, what work has been done on it? What work has been done on the old National Guard in Marion? What works? And then out of all of this money, out of all of this funding, that these grandiose announcements of funding, where have anybody seen any post about the bid, the amount of the bid, any post about the company that got the bid, any post about the actual cost of the completion of it? How many times have you seen any of that? Right? How many times? Just seriously, how many times? And the thing is, we have so many people. The status quo. I say the status quo. I would say this: the people that has been in positions of the decision makers have been completely comfortable with people not asking questions. Right? I've been labeled an outsider. I've been called, you know, my military service has been made fun of. And I don't think I'm asking basic questions. That's what I'm doing, asking basic questions. And I can do a little research. Right? And it's just all about, hey, well, if somebody make a claim that, hey, this is what it is. Okay. What does Alabama, is it allowed in the state of Alabama? Can you do X, Y, and Z? And that's all I did when they made the thing about the budget. I went and looked, and Alabama law said that no, in order for any change, it's not a 10% variance. See, this is how I want to show people how people will use certain things to manipulate people, right? You can use a 10% variance not in your budget, but in what you pay. You can flex around that, but not if you're making any changes to allocations, right? You can't do it. And the question that comes in, why don't you do all of that work prior to? Everything has just been done reactionary. All of these empty promises. Look, Cedar Bluff Road in Uniontown, still no work done. They put them signs up in the beginning of November. Oh, you just got to wait on the weather. The weather, you know, we got to wait on the weather. Man, listen, political theater. Because that initial announcement was 2 years ago. Political theater. You know, now all of a sudden, you know, they talk about land grants, and now that's the big thing that you know, that the commissioner is working on. You know, he's concerned about housing and the problem with housing. Okay. Yeah, right. Repeat the same thing, because the same language was used back in 2014 when they had the hotel built. It's just a repeat thing. The repeat thing. And I just hope people wake up. I really hope people wake up. Because I would tell y'all, I talked about it the other day. I would be shocked if I'm misproven. But there would be large sums of money donated to to political organizations and nonprofit political organizations and other entities within Perry County around the April and May timeframe for the elections. Because the same thing happened in 2022 when they had the race for District 23, Senate race for District 23. The same thing happened. I was able to show, and I showed on my other live, that was $75,000 dumped between April and July, the end of April and July of 2022, around election time. And I wonder why, right? I'm telling you why. The reason why is because that's how they quote unquote inject their influence and their resources into politics. Because they allegedly, and it's already been known, I'm telling you right now, if you go and Google right now, voter fraud, Perry County, just watch how many articles pop up about voter fraud or alleged voter fraud with absentee ballots. Right? And I just tell people this, man. I'm 100% not against absentee ballots. I'm not. I do have a problem with people are using resources to pay people for stuff. And I would tell people political grifting. In my post that I made, one of the things is they talked about how red flags with nonprofit organizations, how certain nonprofit organizations get favoritism. Right? And that's why I highlighted an unusual change in the budget from last year, from 2024, 2025 to last year, with Sowing Seeds of Hope getting allocated from going from $20,000 or $20,000 in 2024, 2025 up to $75,000 in 2025, 2026. Why just to that organization? When that organization, part of their mission is to pay people utilities. I want y'all to see that. Just see it. The county government allocates funding to go to a nonprofit that pays for utilities. You increase it because you did it on the budget to $75,000. Then you made an announcement that you found another $25,000. So you go from $20,000 to $100,000 during an election year to go to a nonprofit organization to pay for utilities. Now, my question is, this is not against Sowing Seeds of Hope, but what report have you seen of the amount of money that is given by Perry County that Sowing Seeds of Hope has took that said amount and how much went to support the people in Perry County? So if in 2024, if Perry County government gave Sowing Seeds of Hope $20,000, Sowing Seeds of Hope should be able to provide a report to show that, hey, over the year, we have donated $19,922 to people that live within Perry County. Now, that is transparency. Now, that's what people can trust. But just to up and give, go from 20,000 to 100,000 during an election year, and people just be okay with it? No, I called Buddha Chatter when I saw it. And I made a post on November the 8th about it on my page. Right? And that's the thing that this is why I'm passionate about it. Because when I see stuff like that, right, people, I would tell you that I'm speaking to the people who defend this foolishness. Because they may be the ones benefiting from having their utilities paid by Sowing Seeds of Hope. I'm not against it. I'm against you supporting buffoonery just because you getting something out of it. Do y'all understand that? Right? And I want the people to understand this too. Some will get upset, and I would just say this: God bless you. Until we change our mindset of settling for crumbs and looking for handouts, people like this, the same type of people, will continue to be in positions of power because they will play that against you. They will give you scraps, give you crumbs, give you $20, $30, $40, $50 for a vote. Donate money to give the appearance that they're giving money so you can get your light bill paid. You can get some money to go on your bills. Right? Pander to things when, for example, I'm glad I thought about this. I want people to understand we had a government shutdown. The government shutdown was ended with a continuing resolution. A continuing resolution basically said, hey, we'll agree to fund the government up to the next date. The continuing resolution goes to January the 30th. So at the end of this month, in 30 days, it's a potential that there'll be another government shutdown. And I'm going to tell you what you're going to hear. You're going to hear people talking about SNAP benefits. You're going to hear people talking about all of these other things, right? That play on the emotional strings of rural and poor areas, right? But what you don't hear is, you don't hear anything about people being transparent about the actual revenue that we got coming in. Like they don't. Like they just don't. Like, and they use, I would tell you, go in. I just want people to really see certain stuff. I would make a post, but I just want people, they use like the COVID money, right? When they got the COVID money, the $1,730,000 they got in COVID money, they got additional $200,000 in COVID money to redo the allegedly add a COVID treatment area to the James Hood Detention Center, which under oath, Albert Turner said it was done, but the sheriff said there's no COVID treatment facility rooms in the jail. But so a total of $1,930,000 that they receive for COVID money. There were 2 votes to give bonuses to the workers of Perry County, to the employees of Perry County, right? I'm not against the workers getting that one time that pay that they got. I'm not against it, right? Because people will take this and be like, oh, I'm not against it. My thing is this: why not take revenue increase that has been increasing over the last few years from the landfill tipping fees? Why not, since you know that coming in, why not take some of that revenue and allocate that to increase pay for the citizens, for the county workers, where it can be a consistent thing that you know there's revenue coming in from an industry that you have within the community, that there's, that things can be done in that way. Why do you lie about the amount of revenue that you got coming in? Why would you go back and change it? Why would you put on your page that Perry County is aimed to receive, they got $1.5 million last year in 2025, but then on the revenue sheet, on the budget, you just changed it from $1,083,000 to $1,003,000, and have the audacity to say sometimes budgets change because of clerical error and people man, stop it. Like, stop it. Like, seriously, stop it. So you made a clerical error to intentionally take the 8 out of the 80,000 in the 1,080,000 and just make it 3. So like people ain't gonna see where that $80,000 went. That's a clerical error, right? Clerical error. Even though you missing 1 point is supposed to be $500,000 more, because that's what the report that the landfill reported to ADEM, because Perry County is supposed to get $1 per every ton given, and in 2025 They reported to ADEM that they received 1,499,000 tons. And I made a report on that on my page. And they supposed to get, Perry County supposed to get a nickel for every ton to repair the roads. They've been getting that for every year since the landfill started in 2012. Listen, y'all, listen. This thing is crazy work. Crazy work. Right? And if you go to the budget, if you see revenue, you don't see no money listed about them receiving funds from the landfill to fix roads. You don't see that listed at all. So based off of what they got last year, Perry County should have got $70,000 from the landfill last year to fix roads. And I just want people to see, man. I want people to see it. And the change is not going to happen. The change is not going to happen by us just being mad about it, posting about it. We got to get active. We need to see action. We need to see people filing complaints, right? Filing complaints to and calling the Attorney General's office, sending emails to people. Y'all think that I'm telling you, sending those things, like really sending them. Send them, call them, let them know. Let these people know that it's time out for that foolishness because we ain't standing for it. Ain't none of this is personal. None of it. And I would just say this. You know, I wanted to say this because I have been concentrating on Perry County. Yes, I have. But I want other people to know within the Black Belt, if you are a government entity, right? And there's public requirements, there's Alabama law that require you to do certain stuff. I'm going to take a look at it. And there's certain things like, do people understand this, right? Alabama law requires Board of Education to do annual budgets. Did you know that? So the same Department of Examiners of Public Accounts that do audits on county commissions, they do audits on Board of Education. Yeah. And it'll tell you if your Board of Education was in compliance or not. Right? And them same audits that the county and stuff get, there's grants out there for the Board of Education. Right? Also thinking about certain things like, you know, like there's other things, man. We got a lot of stuff, man. We got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of issues. And you know, for the people that's defending it, you know, God bless you. You have 100% the right to do it. But I refuse, like Derek Lapser said, I refuse to let you piss in my face and tell me it's raining. I refuse. The people deserve better. The people deserve better, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they have different banks that they deposit money to. I saw a post before that Albert Turner shared that Perry County had like 41 different banks. And a few of those banks didn't even, there was a dispute, right? It was in 2023, right before going into 2024. It was the last few months of 2023. There was a move by the Perry County Commission, and they voted Albert out as the chairman. And Brent Harrison, they found out that Albert had opened 2 accounts they had like $240,000 in the bank over in Utah, right? And he also made another post that he was talking about Bank of Marion wouldn't give the county a line of credit. What so he had to go seek it elsewhere. My question is, why? Why wouldn't the Bank of Marion give the Perry County government a line of credit if their financial dealings was in order? Right? I would just say this, man. Why do people fight so hard to get in positions? The Perry County Commission pays a total of $21,600 a year, $1,800 a month. Why would people fight so hard to stay in those positions? That's the question, right? That's the question. And my thing is, before I go and enjoy the rest of this day with my beautiful baby girl, my thing is this. This is the question that I have. With all of these people who have been recycled in these political positions, i.e. mayor, city council, county commission, if all these people are as good, or if we give them the benefit of the doubt that they should know stuff based off of their experience, why don't we see better? Right? Why don't we see better? Do y'all understand? Why don't we see better? Why don't we see transparency? Right? Albert said yesterday that they're committed to being transparent. Where? Where? Like, seriously, where? Like, people have gotten to the point to where, you know, I'm being honest with you, for people that's dealing with in Marion, and there are going to have to be some lawsuits against a lot of these entities, these municipalities and these county governments, to force these people to do the stuff that they need to do, or what they are required to do by law, or to show certain things. Right? And I will continue to provide factual, non-emotional, logical information that people can use to verify, to increase awareness, right? So that there can create a shared understanding that people can really see and know what's going on. Remember, exposure leads to expansion. Educate to elevate. Educate to elevate. Right? Because there's so much potential that's back home. We just got to get. I will share this biblical analogy. I remember just in a conversation with God one time, I was like, God, why did the children of Israel? Why did it take the children of Israel to wander in the wilderness for 40 years on a journey that only should have took them 11 days? And the Holy Spirit responded and said, Robert, my grace. I was like, what you mean your grace? He was like, my grace. He said, my grace for my people allowed them to wander in the wilderness, which I provided manna, I provided quails, I provided provision for them. I made sure that they clothes didn't wear out, their shoes didn't wear out, right? I did miracles for them. But they couldn't inherit the promised land because many of them couldn't transition from being in the slavery mindset. So my grace allowed a generation to die out in order for the next generation to go into the promised land. And I hope y'all catch that analogy. And a lot of the older generation who have held on to legacy, who held on to the core and the root of a lot of the hard sacrifice and groundwork that was done. Right? We're talking about civil rights era. There's a lot of people that was foot soldiers, did a lot of different things. But too many of them have been holding on to the legacy of that, but not holding the people that had got in those positions because of that work, because of that groundwork, that people that were standing on the shoulders of the people that did the groundwork, but they didn't respect what they had to do. And they got in there and became the very same thing that the people fought against, the people that sacrificed their life for, the people that put their lives in danger, the people that spoke up. They became the very same thing that they fought against. And the same tenets of the oppressive nature of Jim Crow South has changed to black Democrats that only seek power in the areas back in the black belt. You think I'm lying? Look over who's been running the black belt for the last 40 years. It's the same old, same old. And they pimp the people's loyalty to a particular political party. I am not an endorser of any political party, right? But I'm about results, right? I don't give two flips. If you say the Yellow Banana Party, can you get the results that the people need? Can we see betterment in the community from whatever you got going on? What are your plans? How transparent you are? How respectful you are to the people? Right? We got far too many people who still have a bondage mindset, and they okay with receiving crumbs under the guy that these people are lying and trying to tell you somebody else is worse. And these folks are laughing all the way to the bank. Man, y'all, I'm telling y'all, you would be amazed at the timing of these elected officials when they go in political office, and then you can go and look up the business search, right? You can go and look at the state of Alabama and see how many nonprofit organizations these elected officials, these mayors and these city councilmen have. And if you go to a nonprofit organization, but then when you go and you look up for their filing, because nonprofit organizations are supposed to file taxes, right? They're supposed to file their taxes as a nonprofit organization. You can't find nothing. You can't find their IRS form 990s. You can't find none of it. But you go and you look and you will see, oh, this person got elected on this date. A couple months later, they founded a nonprofit organization. But you said things that make you go, Or you see these, man, look, I would just tell y'all, man, listen. And the thing that upsets me the most with this, all of this stuff is public information that good old Private Pile can jump on Google and go and look it up. Why haven't we had any real investigative work done by the DA's office? Investigative work done by the Alabama Attorney General. Investigative office done by the Alabama Bureau of Investigation. Or the Alabama's Ethics Committee. Do y'all understand that? Why? Like, and I just want people to sit down and just think about it, man. Man, we got to get out of this whole close family names, everybody trying to position in this. You know, look, why we act like in the black belt, why we act like it's the Game of Thrones or something? The house of this and this name and this name. And the whole goddamn village being taken over by White Walkers. I hope y'all catch that reference. Being overthrown. Like, man, I want y'all to, I hope people can see what I see when I talk about the potential that Perry County has. And even in the black belt. But we got to get these elected officials, man. These same old folks. Man, y'all know these folks. These folks don't know their left hand from right hand, but because they're your family member, you keep them in office. And then you go back around and ain't nothing got better. Goddamn city don't even have a budget pass. Borrowing money to pay payroll. Boy, I tell you, man. And then, this is the funny thing. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it live. I'm going to say it live. And I'm saying it. This what gives me. I've seen some African-American people have the audacity to get mad at white folks for asking the same question that I asked and try to act like they only asking it because they racist. And these folks turn their water on their water brown. These folks can't brush their teeth out of the socket, can't cook out of the socket. They got to buy bottled water. But they still getting a water bill. Do y'all know on the last audit, well, the audit in 2021, because we hadn't seen the one from 2023, in Marion, they had over $830,000 that wasn't accounted for the water. Like, come on, man. Crazy work. Crazy work. But man, you guys have a blessed day. Man, finish this year strong, going in 2026. But I would tell you, man, change ain't gonna happen just because if we don't change something. We're gonna have to change it. So you guys have a blessed and wonderful day.